and welcome to Categories Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.categories.com. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and I'd like to welcome to the show today Michael Beck, the lead singer from the band Escape The Hive. Now, that's a good place to start off. I was kind of intrigued by the name. Could you tell a little bit about the story behind the band's name?
Sure, yeah. Escape The Hive is, it's just kind of about, leaving the confines of things you know.
Okay.
What you know, and kind of getting out there on your own,
and so that's what this is now. So I'm assuming by that answer that when you left your previous projects that you were involved with, you want to do something on your own. So this is totally something that you formed on your own. It's not a band that was already pre-existing.
It's not a band that was pre-existing, but it's definitely not on my own for sure. It's
okay.
It's a band for sure. It's something that kind of myself and the bass player Paul Williams have put together. We were kind of the first two that got it going.
Okay.
And then kind of pulled in members that wanted to write the kind of stuff that I thought would inspire me.
Okay.
And found, I believe I found the right guys.
Now let me ask you, Michael. A lot of people know you, of course. You were previously briefly involved with Red Dragon Cartel, which of course is Jakey Lee's band. And I know you didn't play on the record, but you toured with the band. And how long were you with that?
I got the gig in, I think, February, somewhere in there, and then I left toward the end of May, I think.
Okay, and I don't know if you want to get into why you left, because I know part of the reason I've been looking forward to talk to you is I know you were involved with that, and at that time Jakey Lee had gone through many changes in singers, and I was kind of curious what was the reason for your departure.
Well, I mean, there were several, but the biggest one was that I think they were going through a little bit of a flux in what Jake was going to do, and with the original singer Darren, who's actually a friend of mine, still is, and I knew that was probably going to get put back together, and it did at some point. When I was asked to join the band initially, there wasn't a whole bunch of singers. There was just me.
Yeah. So yeah.
But I had a great time playing with Jake. Every show was what it should be. He's who he is for a reason.
Oh, sure. Sure.
And being able to sing that catalog, especially the Badlands stuff, was that's kind of right in my wheelhouse. So it was great being able to sing those songs with the guy that wrote them standing next to me.
Oh, sure. And so obviously you were answering my next question. Is obviously you were a Jakey Lee fan before you ever went to work with the man, but and then the next project I believe was Kings of Dust. Did you guys do 2 albums? Is that correct, or one?
We did one.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the record came out in March, the day that the lockdown for COVID was announced.
Wow.
So we planned that out pretty meticulously, it looked like.
Yeah, and in spite of that, I must say that it's a pretty impressive album, and you guys were getting great reviews. So, do you think had COVID not hit that you think you guys? I mean, is the project still together, or have you kind of just moved on to this now?
Yeah, I've moved on to this. The project isn't together. I'm really proud of that record. I really like the songs that were on it. I worked a long time to get that record out, to get it where it was. I wish it would have had some more legs on it, but I got to tell you, I couldn't be happier where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to ask you about, Kings of Chaos, like I said, in spite of coming out right at when COVID was hitting, you did get a lot of praise and positive reviews from a lot of the critics. How surprised were you by that?
I mean, you write a record for yourself, and you hope everybody digs it as much as you do. So we were all really surprised, but not blown away, because it's kind of what we set out to do.
Yeah, and you did. Yeah, mission accomplished.
I think grateful would be a better word.
Yeah, and now let's get to Escape the Hive. So how long has this band been together?
This band, we started recording, it would have been summer of last year. Well, earlier than that, actually, probably spring of last year. So almost a year old completely. So it's happened pretty quickly. Yeah. It came together pretty fast. The bass player and I write the majority of the material, and kind of go through it before it's brought to the band, and then we started recording it. It kind of metamorphosized through that again a little bit. But it's been a quick ride, and I'm really looking forward to next year when the record comes out. Yeah,
and let's talk a little bit about the lead off track, which of course is for the song "It's Not All Right." Now, to me, I've listened to that, and it's a great way, I think, to introduce the world to this band, because when it starts off, I'm first initially thinking, okay, it's a ballad, and it gets a little heavier and heavier, a little more aggressive, and I couldn't really think of a way to. I don't know if I would say you're hard rock. I don't know if you'd say you're metal or just kind of heavy rock, but it's hard to kind of pinpoint what this is just based on the one track. But the interesting thing is, I was really impressed by your vocal approach. I mean, because oftentimes when you're hearing a band for the first time, you're trying to think, who does this band remind? What does this remind me of that I've heard before? And I can honestly say, I think what impressed me the most, Michael, is it's just got such a fresh, original approach. It doesn't sound like anything I've heard before. And maybe in one word, the best way to describe it, I would say, in reference to this track here, "It's Not All Right," I would say it's epic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take that all day.
and so it's hard to kind of listen to that, even kind of figure out, who you were influenced by. Like I guess as far as singers that you were really influenced by. Who are some of those singers that influenced you to do what you're doing?
Well, as of most guys my age, not really as far as a singer, but just as far as the whole package.
Yeah.
It started with Kiss, and
yeah.
I am so not alone in that group.
Oh yeah.
But then, as I kind of progressed out of that into thinking about singing and who influenced me both vocally and lyrically, it's definitely David Lee Roth from Van Halen, and David Lee Roth, and Steve Walsh from Kansas. Both those are the top two for sure.
Well, it's interesting now, again, because who the hell's not influenced by Van Halen or Kiss? But I'll tell you, I never would have picked David Lee Roth for your hero. That just goes to show you, don't judge a book by its cover. Because again, I mean, you don't sound nothing like David Lee Roth. But what I loved about what David Lee Roth did in Van Halen, or even in any of his solo albums, is Dave may not be the greatest singer in the world, but for what he does, he's great at it. If you know what I mean. I love some of his nonsensical lyrics. They don't even make any sense, but it fits the song, and it's so Dave.
Blue-eyed murder in a size 5 dress. I mean, if you can write that, you are on top of the world.
Yeah, and I think the one thing, now that you tell me that you're influenced by David Lee Roth and Kiss, or just a couple of your influences, I could kind of see that, because what do they have, those two, besides having great songs and great putting on a great show? They're entertainers, both David Lee Roth and Kiss. I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you go see a Kiss show, you're not just getting you're going to see a bunch of great songs live. You're going to be entertained. You're going to get the ultimate rock show, and if very much kind of in a different way. You get that with David Lee Roth. That's why I wasn't too surprised a couple of years ago when they chose Dave as their opening act.
Right. I still remember hearing that first Van Halen record and going, wow.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, and let's be honest. Like, I mean, technically, Sammy Hagar may be a little better of a singer and songwriter, but again, I think they're two different types of singers, two different guys. They both bring something different to the band. But like, I would almost kind of guess, just listening to this, like, he sings more maybe in the style of Sammy Hagar. But so that's interesting that David Lee Roth kind of your guy.
Always has been.
Yeah,
always has been. His lyrics and the way he puts things.
Yeah.
It's just not typical. It's not. And I if there's anything that I try to do, and I try to not try a lot of times. I try to just let it happen.
Yeah.
But if there's anything that I try and do, it's to try and make whatever I'm saying accessible, but not specific.
Yeah, and I hope that I hope the album when it comes out is people really check it out, and that it's a big success for you, because you're one of those guys has had an interesting career, like I said, like even going back to Jake, I was curious how did you get the gig? It was you said you were friends with Darren. Did he have anything with recommending you or anything like that?
No, I was actually in Kings of Dust.
Oh, okay.
Before that happened, and that was with the former bass player Badlands.
Great chaser, yeah.
So that was a little bit of a connection, and then but I had to audition like everybody else, and but I heard that was going to happen, and in fact I did that, auditioned, got the gig. Couldn't be hear about it. Was looking forward to everything that did happen. So it was a journey for sure.
Yeah, and it's an interesting journey because while that's a great credit to have on your resume, the interesting thing I think about your journey is like you toured with the band, you did some live shows, but you didn't play on the record, and that's a common thing these days. But my point is, so when people hear this new record from your band, Escape The Hive, they've heard the name Michael Beck, even from that to the Kings of Chaos album. But you're not one of these guys that has been in a million different bands. People maybe have heard the name, and maybe now you do a couple more albums with Escape The Hive if this is successful, and then people Michael Beck, that's the singer from Escape The Hive. He was previously in Jakey Lee's band, toured with them, and then did this other album. But you got a kind of an interesting journey because, like I said, people have heard the name, but they may not be really aware of who you are or what you even look like, if you know what I mean. But maybe that'll change with this band.
True.
Yeah.
Probably true. I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
I was in several signed bands back in the late 80s and 90s, and kind of took a break from it for a little while. I'm also a recording engineer and producer.
Wow.
That's kind of my day job. It has been for a while. And then back in the early 2000s is where I kind of got back into it.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And in regards to Escape The Hive, would you say that the song that you just put out, would you say that's, it's not all right, would you say that's a fair kind of, that the rest of the songs are kind of like that, or would you say kind of there's all different kind of sounds that running throughout the album?
I think there's a thread that runs through the record for sure.
Yeah.
I think that that's one of the reasons that we were happy to release that one first with the lyric video, is that it's pretty typical of what the rest of the record is like.
That's good.
I don't think any two songs sound alike. I don't think it's cookie cutter by any means. But like I said, I do think there's a thread that runs through it, and I don't have a problem with that.
I mean, that's important too, because like I'm an old school guy that I miss the days of going to the local record store and spending hours in the record store and looking at all the cool artwork on the albums. I mean, talking about Kiss, I'm a huge Kiss fan myself. I remember the very first time I ever saw Kiss Destroyer, and not even knowing too much about the band at the time when I saw it for the first time, thinking, I don't know what the hell this is, but it looks so cool, I have to have that.
doing everything from the songs to the album cover to the pictures that'll be on the record. That's always in the back of my head. I mean, we're not wearing makeup,
no.
But that type of showmanship and really putting it together as a package has always been important to me, and I'm sure that's why.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm an old school guy, and I kind of laugh because I was having a conversation like with somebody the other day, and he was telling me, like, he goes, oh man, he goes, some people love to collect vinyl and stuff like that back in the day. He's like, but you know what I love? I just love being able to download something. It doesn't even take up any space on your, in your room or anything. It just kind of just sits there. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that is the opposite of my thought process for sure.
Yeah. And so, I hear your point because, like, some of these classic albums, like, Kiss, Aerosmith, Van Halen, you would put on any of these albums by these bands and back in the day, and they all the songs sounded like they were written specifically, or that they fit on the same album, and
yes.
And that's a lost art, I think.
I couldn't agree with you more. I totally agree. It's each record was, you listen to Aerosmith Rocks, which is one of my favorite records, and then you go to Draw the Line, and it's the same band. It's definitely similar songs, but you're right. They're presented in a record that is tied to that record. Yeah. Every song is tied to that record, and it's a package, and it works that way for a reason. And I'm sure Kiss is a big part of it, but I'm heavily influenced by the 70s music that I grew up with, and that was a big part of it for sure. And it's funny
you mentioned Kansas because again, while I was listening to the track prepping for interview day, I couldn't think exactly like what it sounded like, but yeah, I could kind of hear a little bit of a Kansas influence in there, and that's why I think people are going to enjoy this because I mean vocally, at least on that one track there that I've heard, you're killing it, and it's such a good track that I think what you succeed at is it leaves me wanting to hear the rest of the album. Like, man, I wish I could go hear something else off the album right now. It's just that good, so I think it accomplishes that.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. I've been fortunate throughout my career to play with really good, top-notch musicians like Jake. But in every band I've been in, I've been able to be surrounded with some really great musicians, and this band is definitely there. It's the drummer is someone that I've wanted to work with for a long time, and finally got the opportunity to. The guitar player fills the shoes of the people that I've played with previously, and does it very well. And we got a keyboard player because you can't be a 70s rock band with. So.
And what's it like for you, Michael? You have all this previous experience, but and you said this is very much a band. It's not like a solo project or anything. But what's it like to kind of be in a situation where you can kind of go in and you don't necessarily have to wait to be told what to do, how to sing the songs? You can kind of just do it the way you want to do it.
Well, that kind of creativity and is I mean, there's a yin and yang to it. I never sit and write something and then consider it done. It's not done until it's done. I mean, I'm constantly changing it. Like I said, my bass player Paul Williams is someone who I bounce off of ideas off of a lot, and I listen to his advice, like I hope he listens to mine.
Well, I mean, it's very important to have that chemistry, that collaboration between the band members, because
the drummer's another one. AD Adams is our drummer.
Okay.
He has played with so many people and has such a resume. Everybody from Dirty Looks back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Now he's playing with Louis Prima. Jr., and does a lot of touring with him. So a lot of diversity, but he is such a swing drummer that he literally changes the track just by playing on it.
Amazing.
And
wow.
I a guy with that kind of resume, I would be a moron not to take his advice. So
sure. I mean, and I think a lot of times when you have bands where everybody at least gets to feel like they contribute or play a major role in the creation of the songs, it makes for a better band. It makes for a better the song's going to be better if everybody thinks they've kind of put something into it. I think those are really great bands, because let's be honest, if and not that it would be a bad thing, but if this was an album where everything was written by you, it would kind of sound like the Michael Beck solo project, kind of like, and that's again nothing, not that would be bad, but it's kind of like when Joe Perry and Brad Whitford left Aerosmith for a few years. They still have some, the music was a little different. It wasn't quite Aerosmith, but you just taking Joe Perry and Brad Whitford out, there was a different kind of influence that was in the band at the time. You could kind of feel it if you listen to those records.
It's the sum of the parts.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. And I've always been a big believer in that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a reason why my day job is as a producer.
Yeah.
But that was important on this record. Some of my previous projects, that's not always been the case, and you don't have that luxury. So I was really happy that I had it on this one. Yeah,
and I was kind of curious, going back to the time that you were touring with Red Dragon Cartel. Red Dragon Cartel, they put out two great albums. I think part of the problem that band had, as far as kind of had an identity crisis, if you will, in the sense that the first album was kind of Jake's return to the music scene after about doing nothing for 20 years, comes back, and he's written all these great new songs. He had different singers on each song, and then they do the second album, and they got same singer on every album, and then they and the singer leaves, and they go through all these. Was that kind of hard, like when you were doing those shows with Red Dragon Cartel? Because first of all, fans are coming to shows and they're kind of like, okay, who's the singer this week? And was that ever an issue, do you think?
It wasn't for me, because again, when I got the gig, it was my gig.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that problem.
Yeah.
Same problem as a lot of the guys that came after.
Yeah.
That's when I kind of started to be that, and I can't speak to what their experience was.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. I loved playing with Jake. Like I said, he is who he is for a reason.
Yeah.
And it was great being on stage with him every night. And I'm really looking forward to next year when Escape The Hive does some live shows, because the guitar player we have is a really good player, and I'm anxious to kind of trot him out.
Oh, wow. You want to drop a name or leave people?
No, yeah. His name is Conrad Varela.
Okay.
He's a younger kid.
Wow.
Kind of an interesting story with Conrad. I became aware of him. Alice Cooper does a kind of a talent show.
Okay.
It's in the pudding at the end of every year.
Oh, I heard of that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Conrad won it as a guitar player, as a solo artist, and since then he's played with Alice several times. He's played with Jeff Tate from Queensryche. He's been on stage with Tommy Thayer from Kiss.
Oh, wow. Right there.
Wow. So that kind of opened some doors for him, and that's where I first became aware of him. And his playing, although he's a younger kid, is not a younger kid. He is very much a 70s, 80s soul. Oh, wow. And
wow.
I'm really anxious for people to catch him live, because it's going to be good.
So just what you've been saying throughout the entire interview, I think while people, when they pick up a record when it comes out, it's supposed to come out in the spring of 2023, I think they're going to be interested in the band initially because, okay, this guy Michael Beck, the singer, we've known him from these previous projects, and then it's going to, sounds like what you're saying, everybody's going to, okay, well, he's involved, but look, well, man, the rest of the band is just as much, on fire, and it's going to be like very much, I guess, sounds like just kind of equivalent, maybe like what Van Halen was back in the day, where you had Eddie and Dave, and Alex on the drums, and Michael Anthony doing what he did on the bass and the background vocals, and just the whole band together was on fire.
Yeah, it like I said, this is very much a band, and I am really looking forward to kicking this out of the stable.
Yeah, and before I let you go, Michael, I want to thank you for reaching out to me, because initially you were the one that reached out to me about doing the interview, and then your publicist Dave also got in touch with me. I was just curious, how did you hear about us?
I mean, Facebook is a thing of the time.
Yeah,
so.
that's how I find a lot of great musicians and bands that I interview, and so I just want to thank you for that, and please feel free anytime you have anything you want to promote, be it a new song, a video, or whatever, or any of your upcoming shows. Feel free to post it on our website. That's what we're all about. We're a big happy family, and we love promoting the bands we interview. So I thank you, and I urge an opportunity to interview you again down the line. So let's keep in touch, and I really hope once the album drops that we can talk again.
Yeah, I do too, and I appreciate that, Jason. We're really excited for next year. We just got signed with Vanity Music Group and Shock Records, so the record will be out, like you said, in spring 2023. The lyric video for "It's Not Alright" is out now. There'll be another one for another track off the record, probably right after the first of the year.
That's great.
And we just shot, literally like last week, we shot a full video for another track called "Separate Lives" that will come out right about the time that the record does. So wow. I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody out there, and I very much appreciate you giving me the time to. Oh,
anytime, Michael, and thanks again for doing the interview today. I really loved chatting with you and getting to know you. And the last thing I was going to say, do you think that the band will do any live shows before the album drops, or do you think you'll wait till it's released?
I think it'll probably be close to release, but we're already in that mode. We're in rehearsals now. With the holidays, it's everybody's schedules is a little weird, but come January we'll be hitting it pretty hard, and I'm ready to do shows tomorrow. So whatever comes up, I think we're ready to go. Well,
we look forward to that, and I want to wish you and your family and the rest of the band a very Merry Christmas and a rockin' New Year. And like I said, Michael, we will keep in touch. You have a nice rest of your day.
Okay, thanks so much, and happy holidays.
You too, buddy. Bye-bye.
Chaotic Riffs Magazine.